Okay, so spoiler talk, but we're going to be wrapping spoiler talk into a overall discussion about where exactly the film went wrong. Like I said before in the regular review, I like this film. I do not love this film, but there was really a chance for this film to be better, and it 100% encompasses the Hulk characters. I have never, on this channel, there has not been one point in time where I have ever backed or defended Marvel in regards to how they treat the Hulk characters. They treat Hulk like the red-headed stepchild. Not only do they treat him like the red-headed stepchild, they treat his characters like the cousins of that redheaded stepchild, where his villains are basically taken and thrown into Marvel project with with no foresight or no sound writing to back up why exactly these characters are there. Or his stories are essentially taken and adapted in these really easily digestible ways that strips away a lot of the journey that the character goes on for a level of self-discovery. Now, we're going to focus on um Tim Blake Nelson as the leader, Giancarlo Esposito as the head of Serpent Society, Vogler, and Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross. There is a chance here that if the direction we chose to go in was the same way that Captain America Civil War was a Captain America Black Widow introduction to Falcon film that incorporated these different aspects that just gelled really well together. There was a chance here for Brave New World to be a Captain America Hulk film where, yes, we are going down the route of Thaddeus Ross as president of the United States. Yes, you're maintaining Tim Blake Nelson's leader as this man in the shadows who Ross thinks he's using to not only win his campaign, but he's also using to bolster his military and predict his enemies' movements. And he's trying to use Samuel Stearns as kind of a computer, a supercomputer, a living supercomputer, if you will, to predict every move his enemies are going to make so that he can be the great president that the United States requires. Then you have the aspect of Sam Wilson's Captain America, where his Captain America works more in tandem with the military than he did with, let's say, S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers Initiative, where you see him boots on the ground working with Marines, which is one of the things that I absolutely love about this film. One of the things I love about this film is just how much Sam works with the military. He works with the Navy, he works with the Air Force, he works with the Marines. He's coordinating missions with them. It's not a super secret strike force like Cap had in Civil War. It's kind of back to the roots of Captain America that we had in the first Avenger film. That was dope as hell. One of the things I absolutely love is his relationship with that one Marine guy. And for whatever reason, I've been looking it up and I can't find his name. But if anybody knows that dude's name, just drop it in the comments down below. I love that relationship between the both of them, where it's the idea that Sam Wilson, as a former member of the military, works in tandem with the military to essentially go around and take out threats. And then there's that level of respect where the military is willing to go above and beyond to assist him because he was a member of like this super tight knit group where it's basically brothers forged in fire. That was dope as hell, and it really hit me hard when that one Marine guy died. That was some hoe shit. I'm saying it right now. When that one Marine guy died the way he did to the leader, that was some true hoe shit. Because I was really hoping that dude end up being one of like his homeboy confidants that we were gonna get going forward. Maybe he'd pop up every now and then to like lend an assist. And when he died, I really felt a certain type of way. I feel as though the small amount of time that I had with that character really ended up making me like the character, and then watching that character essentially die the way in which he did really fucking pissed me off. But going back to this story that you're trying to tell, where you have Ross in charge, he's using Stearns. Um, Not only is he using Stearns, but Stearns is using him to basically test out his gamma radiation pills so that he can turn him into a variant of the Hulk and basically destroy everything that Ross is essentially built, which is Stearns' overall plan. He wants to turn Ross into a giant red rage monster and have him rampage and destroy his legacy and his credibility, where the people finally see who Stern sees, where Stern sees Ross as like this angry monster. He wants to bring that angry monster forward, and he actually does end up succeeding towards the end of the film. But there's this really nice cross point where you could incorporate Bruce Banner, where you could bring Banner back, like this hatred that he has for Banner. Like I know that we ended up bringing back Betty Ross, Liv Tyler. It was great seeing her after like 15 years. No, it's been longer than that. 15 years? It's been about like 17 years. When did the Incredible Hulk come out? Incredible Hulk came out in like 2009, 2008, somewhere around there. So it's been about 15, 16 years since we've last seen her character. There was this great chance, this great potential to incorporate both Betty Ross and her father into the leader's calculations, where we could have ended up with both Red She Hulk and Red Hulk, where we could bring back Bruce Banner and have him interact with these individuals, where Bruce is willing to essentially give Ross the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the guy has changed, right? But there's a part of Bruce that really can't forgive the way in which Ross hunted him like he was a rabid dog. On the completely opposite side, there's like that tension between both Betty Ross and Bruce Banner, where she feels sorry for how her father essentially treated him and how he's had to live his life. But at the exact same time, she's a little bit bitter at the fact that he never came back for her. He went on these grand adventures with the Avengers. He got his powers under control, and he just kind of forgot about her and moved on. You can focus on both of those two things. You have the rage bubbling beneath the surface of both the Rosses. You have the leader basically manipulating them in order to have that rage burst out onto the scene, because he wants to, let's say both of them are in experimentation, and he wants to basically create an army of Hulks that he can essentially control or something along those lines. But while you're doing that, you could have the Captain America angle where Sam knows that something is going on and he's investigating it. And he's the one that figures out what's happening with the leader. And then he's the one that goes to Bruce, and then him and Bruce team up. And then they basically have to take down both Red Hulk and Red She Hulk towards the end of the film. There's a better way to write this story than the way in which it was done. The idea of just taking the Hulk characters, dropping them into a Captain America film, and then going, well, you know, it'll figure itself out, leads to poor writing. And if you choose not to go that route, there is a route where you do not use the Hulk characters in any way, shape, and form, and you focus on Giancarlo Esposito to carry the villain side of things, because we know he makes a great villain. You use him to carry the villain side of things in regards to Serpent Society, where his backstory is basically he was one of the soldiers that worked for Ross 17 years ago, and he pulled Stearns out of the rubble in Harlem and then sent him to jail. Well, instead of doing that, how about we make him a former member of Hydra? How about when the blip occurred, he saw an opportunity where, you know, as they said, cut off one head, another one grows to take its place. Well, what if you cut off a head of Hydra and it doesn't die? What if you cut off a head of Hydra and it has to crawl on the ground and fight to survive, and it evolves into something else. It evolves into Serpent Society. And they are basically the remnants of, let's say, Hydra and the Red Room and another super secret organization that's operating in the shadows that have kind of merged together into like this new entity. And this new entity is, but you see, you know what's the problem with that? I completely forgot that Secret Invasion is a thing and that we literally had a whole Skrull invasion that really doesn't have any type of impact on the story in any way, shape, and form because the Skrulls were literally also a secret society that were kidnapping people and turning people into basically hidden agents so that they can direct the path that the world took so that they could conquer the planet better. Forgot that that was a fucking thing. But let's forget about Secret Invasion. Pretend that that doesn't exist. Let's slot Serp Society into that bracket that they really shouldn't have had, right? That slot that they shouldn't have had. And you had Serpent Society with their tendrils in all of these different organizations and governments all around the world. And then the idea that somebody needs to get their hands on adamantium. Whoever gets their hands on adamantium first is essentially the ones that are going to be the new rulers of the world. And you have Serp Society pushing for control in America. Then they have operatives that work for them in, let's say, Japan and China. And you can even make it a situation where Serp Society is made up of members of um goddamn Hydra, Red Room, and Ten Rings. Members of the Ten Rings who didn't go off with Shang-Chi's sister at the end of that film and join that society as well. You can have a society that is cobbled together from different elements that's trying to basically gain power for itself, and then Captain America having to be the one to stop them from essentially gaining that power and creating, like the title says, what the old title says, New World Order, or creating what they count as a brave new world or brave new direction. There are paths that you can absolutely take that would make this film better narratively. But it's the issue of the Captain America character and the Hulk characters and them not being able to cross over perfectly. Where at every single point in time you're like, Red Hulk's here, where's Hulk? Or Betty Ross is here, where's Bruce Banner? Or are we not calling Bruce Banner in any way, shape, or form? It'd have been cool if when he found the pills that Ross had been taking the entire time, if he had taken those pills and he had sent them to Bruce, he'd have been like, okay, Bruce worked with Stearns before. Stearns is working on gamma radiation. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get Bruce on the line and I'm gonna send these pills over to him so that he could tell me what the hell is going on. Then you can use that as a vehicle for incorporating Bruce Banner into a situation where he has to fight, let's say, the Red Hulk, because he's like, holy shit, these pills are made out of gamma, like, and it seems as though from the data that you sent me that as the time went on that he was taking the pills, the dosage just keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher to the point where it's now turned that person into another Hulk. There are ways. There are ways to make a better film or to make a more cohesive narrative that you're able to follow that this film just doesn't take, that I can say low key kind of pisses people off. And that's what's kind of feeding the whole engine of people essentially being mad at this film, which is you see Hulk characters, but you don't see Hulk. You see Captain America, but you don't really get the depth of the whole espionage, shadow government, man in the shadows type of deal that you got with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And then even if you were to take a step back and go, well, if not the Winter Soldier level of espionage, then it's the character introductions and the incorporation of multiple angles, or should I say multiple different characters of Marvel into, let's say, a Captain America Civil War, which we did not get either. And as a result of that, you see people docking points away from it. It doesn't, like I said, it's not a great film. It's a decent film, but the potential for it to be a great film was always there. They just chose not to go for it. And then of course there are characters, like I said before, that are in this that I really feel shouldn't have been in this. That I feel like there's another character that could fit that spot. Like let's say Sabra. We don't need Sabra. In my opinion, somebody that really would have fit into this could have been Sharon Carter. We could have brought back Emily Van Camp as Sharon Carter. She could have been the liaison for Thaddeus Ross, where they're both attempting to rehabilitate their image. I feel as though that would have been the better fit. Isaiah Bradley being the old gruff Captain America that's kind of like, I'm retired. I'm gonna let the new young blood take care of the thing. That's cool as well. I don't mind. I love the fact that Isaiah Bradley's getting more shine. I'm hoping that this leads down the line to a Captain America Red, White, and Black film. I think that will be dope as hell. Who knows? Because once again, don't really like the way in which he's incorporated into the film. It just kind of feels as though he's there to give Sam the boost to basically get this job done, when it's like, yeah, but Sam would have gotten the boost to go and get this job done anyway. It kind of felt as though they used Isaiah Bradley kind of the way in which they used the Winter Soldier in the middle of Captain America Civil War, where it's like, see, Steve has to go off reservation because he's got to save Buck. Don't get me wrong, I understand that Sam needs to do the exact same thing for Isaiah Bradley, but we really don't need Isaiah Bradley in that situation. I think I would have preferred Isaiah Bradley being in a situation where he's wary of the government and he's attempting to help Sam. Well, I really should say attempting to help Sam. He's one of the voices or one of the angels on his shoulder that's like, nah, man, you shouldn't trust the government at all. Like, I'm telling you, Ross is just gonna fuck you over. It's a horrible idea. It's a bad idea what you're doing. It's a horrible idea. I would have preferred him in that role than having him basically go through what he went through in this film. I really felt bad for Isaiah. I felt bad for the fact that like he got out of jail after being experimented on for like 40 years, only to be thrown back into a cell. I think the hardest shit that, in my opinion, was like, nah, man, I gotta get my man's out of here. Which is when Sam goes to see him in jail, and Isaiah's like, nah, the best thing you can do about me is not come back, because he's already resigned himself that he's just gonna die in here this time. Like, he's not gonna fight his way out. There's absolutely no point. If they want to put him in a hole that he can't escape from, they could put him in a hole that he can't escape from, so he's not even going to attempt to fight it. That hit me hard. But at the exact same time, I don't think you need to expose Isaiah Bradley to that situation, because okay, so the there's a question of like, how the hell did he get Isaiah Bradley's information? Because for the most part, Isaiah's been like living under the radar for like the longest time, and it's not exactly like he knew that. Well, then again, he could have probably known that Isaiah was going to show up to. It's whatever. I'm getting off. I'm getting sidetracked by that whole Isaiah Bradley going to the White House situation, because it's like, if he doesn't go there, you use somebody else. But then there's the chance that he was there. Then you saw him on the camera, because we do see it from the leader's perspective, watching it on camera. So you saw him on the camera, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna use a super soldier. But then when you opt to basically kill everyone that was involved, you choose to kill the two guys that were still alive, but for whatever reason you left Isaiah still alive, and technically he's the biggest threat because he's a super soldier. There are better ways to write this. There were better ways to go about the story that we essentially received. I still say that my favorite part is the sea battle. I think the sea battle is absolutely fantastic. Them flying around like supersonic, chasing down the jet, dodging the other jet, stopping the missiles, all that type of shit. Love it. Give me an aerial dogfight in any fucking movie, and I'm 100% there. I'm there for it in Star Wars. I'm there for it in Top Gun. I'm there for it here. That's dope as hell. It's just the character stories don't mesh. They don't overlap well. And then we're introduced to characters we're introduced to new characters that we're only going to see once, and then whose spots could have been taken by established characters that we've essentially had before. And it's like, why did we choose to go down this route? Well, let me know what you guys think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I an idiot? You know what to do. Comment down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.